Okay, let's go ahead and do some more examples of solving. Before we get to those, though, let's take a quick little refresher on how to set these up. This is the top of page 3 in the packet. Which of the following is equivalent to the sine of angle R? Let's go ahead and find the angle R. Angle R is this angle right here. Now that we found an angle, let's go ahead and label our hypotenuse, opposite, and adjacent. Hypotenuse is always the longest side. That's our hypotenuse. Then my opposite is always across, opposite from that angle. So this is my opposite. And the adjacent is simply what is left over, the third side. Okay, sine. What are we going to use for sine? My sine, according to my first day packet, is equal to opposite over hypotenuse. So we're going to use opposite. My opposite is R. And then I have my hypotenuse, which is T. So we have R over T, and that is choice C. Okay. We're going to go ahead so we can use these, not to be flipping back and forth between the pages. Sine is opposite over hypotenuse. Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. And tangent is opposite over adjacent. Make those capitals easier to distinguish. Now, let's do all the odd ones here. We're going to label our sides according to our given angle, and then we're going to set it up and solve them. Here's my angle. My hypotenuse is right here. This is my opposite, which means this is my adjacent. I am given, or the two sides I need are opposite and adjacent. Which one of these has opposite and adjacent? That would be tangent. My setup is I need to do tangent. Oh, wrong box. Tangent, and my degrees here are 35 degrees, and that is equal to opposite. My opposite here is X over my adjacent, which is 12. This one is a little bit easier than the one we did on the previous page when the X was over here. On this one, instead of switching the trig function and the denominator, because that denominator on our previous example was an X, we could just switch those. We're just going to multiply both sides by 12. So we're going to end up with 12. Tangent of 35 degrees is equal to X. When we have the X by itself, we can just plug it into the calculator. Calculator, we're going to start with a 12, and then we just press tangent and put my 35 degrees in the calculator. Enter, and we get 8.4. So my opposite side is 8.4. Remember, we're doing this in degrees, so we need to make sure we set the mode of the calculator to degrees. If we left it in radians, it probably wouldn't work. 15. So to set it to degrees, we're going to press the mode button on top of the calculator, go down, and we have radians and degrees, and we make sure they're in degrees. We can go back to this one. Let's set 15 up. 15, angle we're given is 34 degrees up here. Let's figure out what trig function we need. This is my hypotenuse, longest side across from the right angle. Across from our angle, this is my opposite, and then the leftover side is my adjacent. We are given hypotenuse and opposite. We're given hypotenuse and opposite. That would be sine. We have opposite and hypotenuse here. So we're going to use sine of 34 degrees is equal to my opposite. My opposite is my x, and then my hypotenuse is 16. Let's go ahead and do this one, just like the other one. My denominator is actually a number. I am going to multiply both sides by 16. So I end up with 16 sine of 34 is equal to x. When I have the x by itself, calculator time, 16 sine 34, enter, and we get 8.9. Instead of doing 17, we're actually going to go back and do 14 to get a little bit of variety in the ones we're working. 14, let's go ahead and label all of our sides. My angle is this angle right here. This is my hypotenuse. Opposite from it is my opposite, and the other one next to it is my adjacent. We are given, we are going to use my opposite and adjacent. Opposite and adjacent is tangent. So tangent of 20 degrees is equal to opposite, which is 24. And then my adjacent is my x. When my x is on the bottom, what we are going to do is we are going to switch my trig function and the x. So we end up with x is equal to 24 divided by tangent of 20 degrees. X is by itself, calculator time. Let's do alpha y equals 24 tangent 20. We end up with 65, let's just call it 66.